Okay, so for today, what we're going to be doing, I already told you we would probably be drawing a tree, and you know what? Once I came inside and I thought about that, I changed my mind. We're still going to be drawing a tree, but instead of leaving it at that, we're also going to be watercoloring a tree. So if you have watercolors and you'd like to follow along with us, feel more than welcome to do so. Or if you don't have that and you'd rather use the online painting application, which we've already covered, you can use that as well. Just draw out your picture, take a picture of it, put it over into the program, and you can start painting on it. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, let's go ahead and bring up the picture. Boom, there's our picture that we had. Now this picture, which is right there, I'm actually going to be squishing it down a little bit. So let me grab that and go boop. Okay, just like that. That's perfect. Let's go, hang on, and we pick this up. It go, put it right over here. My video editing skills are amazing, aren't they, guys? Okay, let's pinch that and go. Okay, right about there. Good job. Now, this picture is going to be available to you guys in the description if you would like to follow along with us, if you'd like to use this exact same picture. Otherwise, you can find another picture online. But your assignment for today, we are going to be drawing that picture of a tree or something similar, and then we're going to be watercoloring it. So let's go ahead and get started. The first basic thing you're going to need a pencil with an eraser, or ba-boom, an eraser itself. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, a lot of times whenever people draw trees, they start with something that looks like this. And I'm going to use the back side of this so we don't mess anything up here. Let's just spin around right here. And a lot of times when people draw trees, they do this and they go whoop, boop, 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 and they make a pretty little tree. That is not a tree. We are not going to do that, okay? Or they do this. They go whoop, boop, tree. No, that's not a tree. That's a lollipop. See, it goes lollipop. No, that's not what we're doing. That's also not a tree either. We're going to be looking at this tree, and I want to point something out to you. This tree, if you look at it, you can look at the stem and you can see that the trunk of the tree is very, very tiny. And you can see that it goes up pretty far and branches out in multiple directions. Like it just goes up and goes foo. If you measure that tree, you can see that the base of it, where the trunk is, you can measure that up and it's about the same height as it is tall. It's also the same radius on either side. What I mean by that, if we draw the tree trunk right here and we go and we just kind of draw that up like that, that's a tree trunk. Okay, let's just draw that up. If we notice how wide that is, we can also take that and we can measure that. That length right there, if we draw it up, that means the top of the tree is right about here. That also means that in the center of the tree, which would be right about here, it's going to expand out and go that far out. And it's also going to go that far out. So basically, however tall that is, that's how wide those are going to be and how tall it is. So you can use that to kind of base it around where everything's going to be. So let's go ahead, draw this in really quick. Very simple, simple to do. And you can draw light, you can draw dark. It's however you want to do it. But what we're going to do, we're going to even this out right into a point. So it looks like a really giant toothpick. Just like that. All right, now for the branches. Branches are really simple. The branch is never going to be as wide as a tree trunk. It's just not going to be. So let's go ahead and we're going to branch this out. And we're going to make this look like a completely dead tree. So as it comes up like this, it's going to branch out. And you're going to have lots of little branches like that. And remember, this is where your line is going to try to be at. This tree kind of branches out like this, goes down and around. And these are just sketch lines. You can go outside of this if you want, but just try to add in a few little branches here and there. And they can fork off, they can go different directions. Everything in nature, nothing is uniform. So it always has little odds and ends type things. That's what makes it look pretty. Nothing in nature is perfect. That's just the way it always is. Okay, so let's go up. We're going to branch off over here. And you know what? If you make the tree trunk too wide, that's okay. We can fix that later. We're going to come up here. And actually, it looks like in that picture, the tree at the very top kind of forks out like this. So let's go in and make it fork out. Okay, so whenever we do actually draw in the leaves, the two methods I'm going to be showing you, first off, we're going to be using just a regular pencil. Very simple, easy to do. All you need to do with drawing in trees and leaves is just go around in quick little squiggles, just like that. And look at, see where the squiggles actually are. So the tree limbs, look at the squiggles, see where they are, and you want to kind of try to space them apart so they're not overlapping too much. And the reason why is because whenever you go into the darker areas and start shading in, that's when you're going to really condense down and add in those deeper, darker values. So just do some squiggles all the way around and fill in the area of the tree. Now for the darker areas, you want to look at the photograph that you are looking off of, and you want to try to fill in the darker areas where you see them, because the darker areas are actually shadow, and you don't want to go all crazy with the shadows because there's not 100% shadows in the tree. The tree has highlights, it has shadows, it has low points and high points. And you want to try to mimic that, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to draw something from real life, and you want it to look like it is in real life, because that's where you're drawing it from. So look off your picture. All the answers you need for your questions about what shade and how dark and everything like that is in that picture. Just look at it. That's all you have to do. Look at the picture and all of your answers are right there. That's it. And that is how you draw a tree using a pencil. So let me go ahead and get set up with the watercolors, and we can go ahead and start doing that. So with the watercolors, what you're going to need, you are going to need watercolors, very important, and kaboom, there we go. You're also going to need a watercolor brush, which this one is one that came with the watercolors, and gosh, I think the set was like $2 on Amazon. I bought them in a pack of like 8, I think. Anyway, they were $2 a piece, really cheap. And the brush that came with, pretty good. Then you also need to have at least 1 cup of water, maybe 2, depending. And remember back to our painting video, you don't need to fill it all the way up. You just need just a little bit of water in a cup, because all you need to do is you need to be able to rinse off the bristles of your brush. It makes no sense to fill a cup of water up that far when you only need to use that much. So yeah, 2 cups of water if you can. Put about that much water in it. Watercolors, a paintbrush, and you're going to need some paper towels. But anyway, whenever you are painting a tree, it's very simple, very easy. All you need to do is just match the colors up. Now in nature, whenever you look at colors that are bright and highlighted, you will notice that there's more yellow in it than anything else. And with watercolor, it's very important that you start with the lighter values and work your way dark. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start with some lighter values in the tree. I'm going to mix up some yellow paint right here. And for those of you who have not watched my watercolor tutorial videos, what you want to do, you always want to paint with the water and not the paints. So what I'm doing here, I'm getting the paints wet. I am taking them over to another part of my clean palette. Not really clean, but still clean. And I'm adding more water to it. That way I can paint with the pigments or the water, the color mixed into it, and not paint with the paint itself. Because if you just scoop this out and go whoop, blop, you're going to be wasting a lot of paint, and this is going to go really quick. That's not the way that you paint with watercolor. So now we're going to look at this and we're going to layer up the paints, and we're going to try to do approximately the same thing that we did before with the squiggles, except this time we're just going to plop it down, kind of like this. Now you will need some thicker paper if you're going to be using watercolor. Plop, 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 plop. And the white areas you want to leave white. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this in over here too, to the areas that we have shaded. Now with watercolors, it's very important that you kind of work whenever it's wet, because then it's going to blend a whole lot easier. So now what we do once we have that down, I'm going to go into some greens, and it's not going to be the straight green. I'm actually going to mix it a little bit with a little bit of green right here into the yellow, and then I'm going to mix just a touch of brown into it, and that way it's going to give us a nice little foresty green. And then we're going to go right in here and we're going to plop, plop, plop and add those in. Just the tips of it, plop them in, make little leaves, saturated little leaves, just like that. Add that in there. And it's going to give us the illusion of leaves in the tree. And it's going to all blend together and make it a nice, really pretty tree setting. Now you may notice the areas that you have blended in or shaded with a pencil, they're going to be really dark. And that is because you have the pencil line behind of it. Now once you have that in there, then we're going to go in and add some more brown and make it just a little bit darker. So brown, a little bit of green, and some yellow. We're going to make a really nice dark color. And once we have that color, I'm just going to add just a touch of blue, just for a little bit of shading in it. So just a touch. All right, now we have a really dark, nice color, and we're going to go in and we're going to add in some of those darker values into the shading. So the shadows of the trees, you don't want to do all of it. You just want to look at your picture, see where the shadows are, and add those in right there. Now the beautiful thing about nature, it has all kinds of colors. So it's not just green. There's all kinds of different colors and greens in there that make up your artwork. And now we're going to make the same color again. So brown, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green, and a touch of blue. And then we're going to add in one more color to it. And this time we're going to make it really dark. So this time we're going to add in just a touch of black. Just a little bit, not much. And then we're going to make a really, really dark color green. There we go. Now we're going to use this and we're going to go into the really dark shadowed areas right along in here. And you don't need much of this. You just need a little bit of it. So the places that are really, really dark. Okay, and that's about it for that section of the leaves. Now let's go ahead and paint the trunk. The trunk is easy to do. A lot of artists like to do it first. I personally like to do it last because then it gives me more of a flow. So what I like to do, I like to take some brown first, start with our lighter colors, and then I'm going to kind of water it down a little bit right here so it's a little translucent, or in other words, you can see through it. And then I'm just going to take the tree trunk right where we drew the line and just go whoop, and just go straight down like that and kind of branch it off here and there. Now you don't want to add in every single limb that we drew previously. We just want to get the impression that there's a tree there. And I do that in the trunk right up here with all the leaves while it's wet, so the leaves kind of blend in. Then I'm going to take just a little bit of black. All I did is I put my paintbrush down, rolled it around, a little bit of black, and I'm going to go right down the center part of the tree, but actually not really on the center. I was more on the right hand side. So right down the right hand side of it, and I'm just going to add in a few of those dark areas so it can have a nice shadow going on. And I'm not doing it throughout the whole thing. It's just every now and again, just right there. Now, a beautiful thing about watercolors, if it doesn't blend the way you want it to and it gives you a stiff, straight line, you can actually go in with just a clean, wet brush and add some water to that, and it'll blend out your colors. That simple. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and wash my brush. So, got it cleaned off, paper towels, dry it off. And what about for the grass down here? Well, that's simple. Look at the colors that you see in the picture. Always start with the lighter colors and work your way up. So we're going to start with some yellow. Pick up some yellow, put it down right here, boom. And now what you want to do, actually take your wet brush and just kind of go over those areas where you want that to be. And if that bleeds down, that's okay. We'll fix that in a minute. And just like that. Where you want the green areas to be at. That way, we're creating a wet surface, and it's a lot easier for your colors to flow on a wet surface. So we're going to go into the yellow right here, and we're going to put it down just like that. Just kind of around. A little bit more yellow, and boom. And then let's go into some of the green that we made. So some of the darker green, that's fine. We'll just put that right down here. And this tree is making a shadow right down through here. Just like that. Now, something great about watercolors that I love, you don't have to be very detailed for it to look nice. And it's also really easy to mix colors. All you have to do, just add a little bit of water to it. And you can mix colors directly on your palette. Try to get it the right color, the color you're looking for, and then you can paint with it. So now that is a very quick and easy way to paint a tree using watercolors. Now obviously this is not as good as it could be. There's lots of more things I could add to it, but for the demonstration in this class, that is pretty much everything you need to know. So what your assignment is, you are going to try and complete the artwork that we started here, or you can find your own image of a tree or an artwork or a landscape or whatever you want. I'm not really that picky. And then you can try and create and finish your own artwork using watercolor or drawing it out like I showed you at the beginning with the pencil. So that is your assignment for today. You are going to try to complete your very own artwork using watercolor or with a pencil, and it's either going to be of a tree or a landscape or something like that. Use your imagination, find something you really like, and then try to see if you can paint it. All right, thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a like and a thumbs up. If you are one of my students, please make sure that you turn in your assignment onto the Google Classroom, because that is how you are going to be graded. Also, make sure that you include your artwork, because I've had lots of students that submit work, but they didn't actually submit anything. So it was just a blank submission. Well, I can't grade you if you do that, obviously. So please make sure that you actually turn in your assignment whenever you get done with it. If you are not one of my students, but you'd like to join the class, please feel free to subscribe to our channel, because I am going to try to be uploading all of the lessons that I teach to my students in class on YouTube. And if you'd like to follow along with us at home, then you can. Just follow our channel, subscribe to us, and you can follow along with us too. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you had a great day, fun lesson, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you all very much.